Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Raza, and today we're gonna dive into angles. So what do I mean by angles? Well, there's the basic straight hitting, obviously, straight drives up and down the line. An angle could be any shot that is not straight. So it could be a cross court, it could be a cross court lob, it could be a cross court kill, it could be a cross court a long attacking cross court, a short attacking cross court. It could be a post, reverse post, body line angle. I mean, it's really limitless when it comes to what an angle is. Now the question is, we're going to talk about how you can leverage some angles, and we're going to talk about two of the very basic types of cross courts. Now before we get there, I got to show you something. Check it out. In this video, we're going to talk about two specific cross courts. The first cross court is your standard cross court, which is you're going to hit the cross court such that the first bounce comes and lands about 3 feet behind the back of the service box, hitting the sidewall. Now, you don't want to hit the sidewall too high, because if you hit the sidewall too high, the ball is going to pop off the back wall, and then you're actually in a compromised position. So you want to hit the sidewall low, close to that floor sidewall nick, because when you get that angle right, the ball basically hits here, and then it just dives into that back corner and becomes almost an irretrievable shot for your opponent. So that's cross court number one. That's the standard cross court that you're going to hit if you're doing rotating drives with your opponent out of the back court, for example. The second type of cross court we're going to talk about is an attacking cross court. The target is actually very similar. It's in and around this region here, but the goal now is to get the second bounce of your shot coming down into that area. Now you might ask, okay, when do you use which variation? So like I said, the standard cross court is when your opponent is in a relatively neutral position. You get enough width with that cross court to get it past your opponent, so there's a large enough angle to get the ball past your opponent, and then when you hit the target right, the ball just sort of fades into that back corner. The attacking cross court is one where if you catch your opponent slightly out of position, either they're too far back in the tee, they're further up in the court, whatever it is, that attacking cross court is one where you are not likely to overhit the shot and your opponent is unlikely to get it. So that attacking cross court could be used in a scenario where your opponent, you take them short, you squeeze them in the front corner, they pop up something loose, you accelerate onto that ball early, you hit down on that ball, it takes its second bounce just behind the back, 2-3 feet behind the back of the service box, and you do not run the risk of overhitting it and letting your opponent back in the rally. So that would be an example of hitting the attacking cross out of the front. You can also hit that attacking cross out of the back, where if your opponent is stuck further back in the court or they're cheating over to the same side of play. So let's say you and I are doing rotating drives down the backhand side, you're hitting out of the back corner, and then I see you cheating over here. You're over way to the left, you're over in the back because you're expecting me to hit straight. Then you can play that attacking cross court over to that side, and then it's a lot of work because the ball is running away from the opponent and it doesn't give them a chance to really get under that ball. Now, when it comes to the standard cross, like I said, if you're doing rotating drives, the standard cross is a fantastic shot to leverage for rotating drives because it gets past the opponent's volley, and if they don't cut it off, it's basically dead in the back. The standard cross is also good if you're hitting out of the front and your opponent is relatively neutral. Now, the thing you have to be careful of out of the front is that when people are under pressure, they often default to cross courts. So at that point, you do not want to hit the standard cross because that's going to get picked off on the volley. At that point, you have to use a different variation, either of shots or of a type of cross court. I hope this is all making sense. When it comes to your technique, there isn't really anything super different about this technique. The only variation will be the angle of your swing. So let's say you want to hit the standard cross. You basically just want to set up like a straight drive and you're just going to hit the shot through. You're going to change your contact point a little bit. So let's say for the straight drive, your contact point is sort of in line with that shoulder. For the cross court in an ideal world, you want to adjust that contact point forward. It generates a natural angle. Not always that easy. You also want to angle your body into the front corner when you're hitting out of the front, for example. Earlier contact point is naturally what you need to do for the cross. If you can't, then you have to start manipulating the racket face when it's a little bit behind you. When it comes to the attacking cross, then you have to hit down on the ball a little bit more because you really want that ball sitting down. So now that also has implications for when you can hit it. You can, but you don't necessarily want to hit an attacking cross if the ball is already under the tin and it's close to the floor, because then you can't really hit down on it. If you hit down on the ball, it's going to go into the tin. So you got to wait to the peak of the ball's bounce. Ideally, starting point is above the tin so that you can actually hit down on it a little bit. All right, I hope all of that makes sense. Really just practice this in solo the way you've been watching me do throughout this video, and it's all gonna come together for you. Think about the scenarios in which you can use it, think about your targets, and then put it into practice. Folks, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.